Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's Monday, everybody's favorite day, right? Wrong. So we got a nice gloomy day or morning here, but that's going to change probably in a few hours. It's supposed to get up to almost 90 today, and it's going to be high humid, so very hot when it's humid like that. Very uncomfortable. I'm not looking forward to it. Hopefully it waits till later, because later the better, because I'll be off work shortly after the heat up. So we shall see. I'm feeling pretty good. I got decent sleep. I feel pretty rested. Not completely, but good enough to go slave, you know. So there's a lot going on the internet and TV, the news, you know, with this whole Charlie Kirk thing going on. A lot of people are upset, and a lot of people are, you know, doing what do they call that, vigils and, you know, gatherings, and a lot of people are responding peacefully, you know, having a lot of people are turning out onto the streets, put it that way. A lot, millions, peacefully, to show their respect for Charlie Kirk there. And they're saying that there's this whole movement is starting, you know. I don't know what that means. What are they gonna do? What does it mean when you say there's a whole movement starting? What does that mean? What are the details of that? There is no details. It's just all talk. Okay. Yeah, maybe a lot of people are gonna rethink staying on the left, possibly that, and going either moderate or to the right, which probably would be a good idea, because I'm telling you right now, the left is not looking good. Democrats, the liberals are not looking good right now, okay? They're really not, you know. And I guess the guy that shot Charlie Kirk was, you know, in a relationship with the trans dude, so he's got to screw loose, in my opinion. Anybody that's into that kind of thing, they got to screw loose. So, you know, not looking good there either, because they've been having a lot of issues with this trans stuff, you know. So that doesn't help their cause at all. So, you know, they're still gonna do their thing, you know. They're gonna continue with their shenanigans and their bullshit, and you know, with their lies and all their crap they do, you know, riots, protesting, burning shit down, looting, all the bad stuff that comes from with the left, that they claim that never happens, because apparently they think we're blind. They think people are stupid and blind, deaf, dumb, and blind. That's what they think of anybody that's not on the left. They think we're all deaf, dumb, and blind. Well, you know what? They'll continue to think that way and grow. They will also grow, because they can just get away with stuff. They continue to get away with their behavior. They're allowed to do it because nothing seems to ever happen, right? Nothing happens. They're praised for it in some cases, you know. They're praised for it. I just saw a video on YouTube last night, all these clips of, you know, politicians and people on the left supporting violence against the right, inciting violence against the right, telling people to go hurt them and be violent with them and harass them video after video after video. I haven't seen nothing coming from the right like that, okay? It's all been peaceful. So there's definitely two different parties, two different types of people there. You got the peaceful side and you got the not peaceful side that will do whatever it takes to try to do whatever they're doing. Win. But they'll keep doing their bad stuff. And there's really, being peaceful about it is only good for so much. Just like, if you have to discipline a child, not spanking them and just using like verbal, it's only good for so much, okay? It's only good for so much. The kid's gonna figure it out and be like, well, I can do whatever I want and not pay the consequences and not really get in trouble. Same thing with these people on the left. They do what they want to do without really getting in trouble. And the people on the right, they're so soft because they got their religion, they're supposed to be peaceful, that they don't want to stoop to that level. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, man. Sometimes the bully needs his ass whooped. And as long as, people on the right are complacent and there's nothing, they don't do anything to these people, they're going to continue with their bullshit, man. They're going to continue, and it's going to keep getting worse. This whole Charlie Kirk thing isn't going to do anything. Yeah, okay, people gathered, but nothing's getting done. Nothing's getting done. It's people just gathering and praying. A lot of times praying don't work. I hate to say that. I'm not religious, so I'm going to say, from my observation, a lot of the time simply just praying doesn't do the job, okay? It makes those people feel better that are praying, but you know what? It doesn't stop the bullshit that goes on, okay? You know what stops the bullshit that goes on? Is matching them, okay? If they're rioting and looting and beating people up and burning shit down and being bad, destructive people, well, you know what? You need to fight fire. You need to come in and match them, and they need to be rolled, okay? They need to be physically removed, stopped, and maybe even beat up, okay? Whatever it takes. Instead of standing around praying and holding hands, how about you people go meet these troublemakers and physically teach them a lesson? Whoop their asses. Because you know what? Corporal punishment works, man. I've been on the planet 55 years, and when I was a kid, it was legal to get your ass whooped by your parents, okay? It was legal. And you know what? It works. It works. And it doesn't just work on kids. It works on adults, too. These adult children need their asses whooped because they're misbehaving, okay? They're not being good people. They're being punks, assholes, bitches, dickheads, whatever you want to call them. And they need their asses kicked. It's that simple. They need punishment. That works. That is a proven method that works. And you know what? It might have to come to that. It might have to come to that because obviously nothing else is working. So, if there's any kind of movement that needs to be happening, it's a movement against their freaking heads and their face. That's what needs to happen. They need to be grabbed. they need to be investigated. I just saw on the news this morning, Trump's going to use the government to investigate these people on the left. Okay, well, that's great. What does that entail? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Okay, he's radical. He's Antifa. Now what? Well, you know what? The only thing that works is punishment. Okay, and and a lot of time the only punishment that works is physical. Okay, or just locking them up. That works. Okay, but I'm just saying, man, I see a lot of talking and holding hands and praying, and that doesn't change nothing, man, really. Hang on, kicking in the nitrous. Woo! Feel the power. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out, that, there's a lot of people turning out for Charlie Kirk, but that doesn't really send any kind of message. What does that do? Nothing. It shows that there's a lot of bummed out people that are sad that this guy, got shot and killed. And what? Another thing that kind of bothers me about this whole Charlie Kirk thing, I know he was religious, he's Christian, but it's like his whole thing is like getting hijacked by Christians, okay? It's becoming like this whole Christian thing, and which it's fine, but I don't want it to be all about just that, because there's people that liked him that are non-Christians, okay? There's people like me that like Charlie Kirk because he had some common sense, okay? That's why I like him, not because he's religious and he's got faith. I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with that, and that has nothing to do why I like him, okay? He just had common sense, and things he said made sense to me, and they seemed to be, legit. But it seems like the whole Christian thing is kind of taken over the whole situation, and that's not going to fix the problem. That's not going to fix the evil that's happening and the evil that's coming from the left. And I'm not saying the right's almighty either, because religion has caused a lot of death and problems too, okay? But I'm just saying, in this particular situation, the problems are coming from the left, okay? That's where the problem lies. That's where the problem started. This weirdo from the left that got involved with radical left, Antifa or whatever, transgender people, he got his brain rotted, okay? And he killed Charlie Kirk, okay? Now there's this so-called big whole movement. Everything's changing, they're saying. It's all talk right now. I don't see action. And action is probably what's needed, because, like I said, man, talking's only good for so much. Sometimes you need physical action, okay? You need to whoop some ass. It's that simple. People, look, where's the Hell's Angels, okay? Where are the people, okay? Where are the people, the patriots, when we need them? Okay? All these people, these destructive Antifa people, they never really get, they've met some opposition, but not to the point where, like, they're going to think twice about doing what they do, okay? If the right really wants to put them check them, every time they act up, the people on the right, whatever you want to call them, need to show up, and just roll them, man. Like, and then they'll think twice about doing their shenanigans again, because they'll be like, oh, well, if we try to do this, we're probably going to get our asses kicked, and they probably won't do it anymore. Does that make sense? So I'm at work. I got to go serve my time. so I can pay my bills, you know, do my thing. So thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I wanted to get this off my chest because all I'm seeing online is a bunch of holding hands and talking, praying, and I don't see how that's going to work. Okay, they can gather all they want. They can gather 1 billion people and take a picture and show it on TV, and that ain't going to change nothing. Okay, what will change something is when these a-holes act up on the left, this Antifa punks, these idiots, radical left, start doing their bullshit. That's the time to show up and teach them a lesson. That's my opinion. I'm going to stick with it. So y'all have a great day, and we'll catch you later.